Hi, everybody. Welcome back and happy Friday. All right, guys. So we have a lot going on this weekend. Jason and I are getting ready to go on a birthday trip, which I'm so excited for because we never really take trips for ourselves. They're always work trips. But what I did want to say is, trust me, I will be posting the entire time. Now, with that, next week, which I'm going to just break the news to you because I don't know if Jason has on Anchor Watch. Today, we had this woman who came up to Jason at the gym and she literally had no problem saying, I don't watch Housewives, but I love Below Deck. So she watches Anchor Watch. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Love that. You know, and Jason was very modest. He didn't even tell me. I just overheard the conversation. But I will be the new co-host for the next 2 weeks because Gelsey will be out of town, which means no, you're not getting the dress up and all of that, but you are going to get some Anchor Watch lowdowns, and that's coming from me. Now, with that, if you guys haven't already, go ahead, pop off in the comment section, the live chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Smash that like button. If you're not doing the rest of it as like notification bells and getting subscribed to all channels and going to upandadamlive.com and making profiles, do that too. But let's welcome the husband, Jason. Hello.
Man, the husband. I'm here. Here. Hi. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
I do have to say, you are not my only co-host for the next 2 weeks, though. So I'm very, I'll surprise you. Let's just say that.
Wait, then I'm not going to be there.
Yes, you should. You should. It's Anchor Watch. You got to make an appearance on Anchor Watch every now and then. Okay. You know what's so funny? Guys, this is another story that Adam didn't tell you. We go to this like cute little barber shop here in one of our shopping centers. And I was talking to someone and I walked out. And right as I walked out, this like older gentleman came over to Adam and said, is that the guy from the Below Deck podcast? And I'm like, holy shit, Anchor Watch is taking off again. And I'm actually so excited. I love people who come up and are like, we watch Anchor Watch. Like we don't,
you know, it is, it is actually funny to listen. I've had probably like 3 or 4 awkward instances, you guys, where one time we were out with my dad for Father's Day and we were at a hibachi restaurant and I had this woman, and she might even still be on here. I don't know. I'm not going to say her name, but she walked up to let me know how much she does not love me and love my opinion of Erica and Tom Girardi, but she loves Jason. So we're sitting there eating. My parents are looking at me and she's like, Jason, I love you. Adam, you're in question. Jason, you're amazing. I'm like,
you know, it's so funny because when people like fight back and forth on whose opinion is better or whatever, it's crazy. There's so many opinions out there. There's so much room for other opinions. And you and I, we don't agree on everything. We agree on a lot, but we don't agree on everything. So, no. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here today.
Can I just say, maybe, all right. So guys, we have a lot to talk about. We have Porsha versus Simon. We have Teresa Giudice responding to the WGN live that she abruptly exited. We also have Craig Conover, who's coming in with what he's calling receipts of the 4-carat opulent diamond, which I don't buy, but we're going to get into that. And then Gia Giudice and Andy Cohen, we have that as well, and Alexia versus Todd. But since we're talking, I do want to talk about this because we have a friend who also works out with us and she loves Housewives. Her name's Devin. And last night she watched The Real Housewives of Miami for the first time. And the first thing that she wanted to talk to me about was Alexia and Todd. Do you want to chime in here before I rip?
Okay, hold on. Because we differed on opinion yesterday during our recap on this. Yeah. And I totally get it. But can we just bounce back for 2 seconds? Because we didn't mention this in our recap either. There were a lot of moments where Julia lost us on this week's episode, correct? Especially with the not really, from my perspective now, she's just become like a shitty friend. And then throwing a drink, not just throwing a drink or like tossing it. She made sure that glass was empty, you know? And it's crazy because, you know, Gertie called her out for going to get a facelift while Martina was going through chemo. And then a lot of people have been pointing out lately that, God, look at that. Look at that photo even. But a lot of people have been pointing out lately that why would you go on this cruise? Why would you get Gertie to replace Martina if Martina is having a situation with her cancer treatment or her cancer rehabilitation. Like, it makes a lot of sense, and it makes me side eye Julia just a little bit.
Well, I guess my next question was about the cruise. Was it like a nighttime cruise where you go? Was it a dinner cruise? Was it like a stay away cruise? Were you
No, it
leaving
was.
for a
You
couple
remember
of
how
days?
celebrity and the below deck people were all doing something together because they had mentioned that Captain Sandy, our favorite captain, got a
Yeah.
shout out on Miami. So
Oh,
it was one of those celebrity, like, mix and mingle kind of things with Bravo.
see, here's my thing, and I said this to Jason, you guys. I was like, if I know that for a fact, if I was not in good health, Jason would not go on a cruise without me, and vice versa.
No,
Like,
can you imagine what an asshole I'd be? Oh my gosh, I have to go. I'm getting radiation this week. Well, shit, I just booked a flight to New York. Peace out.
yeah, I would be like, that's so amazing. I cannot wait for you to come back and see your car packed with all of your shit, because you're gonna peace out when you get back. But
God.
I didn't agree with the way that Julia Lemagova, if you guys did not catch our recap yesterday, I did not agree with the way that she threw the water in Gertie's face. And the reason being, and I thought that I used a very accurate analogy. I think that if you are somebody who is married or dating somebody or in a relationship with somebody who has cancer, yes, you are on that journey with them and you are navigating what that looks like, and you are offering yourself as a sounding board and essentially as a point of not just protection but support,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you're not the one who's dealing with it. And it's kind of like, my analogy was like, you have Russell, who is a white man who's a firefighter who is married to a black woman. That doesn't mean he knows what it's like to be a black woman. So he can't sit there and make that argument just because you're married to a black woman. And for Julia, you're sitting there and saying, well, my wife had cancer. And it's like, okay, you're throwing water in someone's face who literally is in remission, who has gone through so many procedures. Her body is going through it. She's left with the residual effects. She's dealing with all of it. And you still throw the water.
I mean,
we care about Martina, but that doesn't
I'm
mean
not
that
comparing cancers at all, but I am comparing women. So Julia didn't go through this. Gertie had her breasts removed, fat removed from her everywhere on her body, and to be put back into her breast. She feels very insecure, and she has been very vulnerable through this process. And I can't believe we're sitting here talking about Miami, but it's so funny because Kiki, as a good friend, was saying, hey, some of the girls feel like you kind of like, you're too much sometimes. You're just a little too much. So maybe bring it down a notch, which I thought was a good friend. But I personally haven't seen Gertie be like too much. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion. But I love how she came to Marisol's wedding party and she was like, you know what? No one's going to get me tonight. I'm going to be level-headed. I'm going to sit my ass down. I'm going to be quiet. And that's where Julia just went utterly insane.
I say, you guys,
crazy.
Had that have been me,
oof,
had that have been me, and somebody threw a drink in my face across the table, you would have to hope that you got touched.
You'd be rolling home in a wheelchair. Like, don't throw.
You literally,
you know what I mean? Like,
you would have to hope that you were touched by an angel, because if I get your ass, you're done. Especially if you just threw a glass of water in my face. And so for Gertie, I have nothing but the utmost respect. And going in from that, since we're talking about Miami, just to kind of wrap Miami up a little bit, I wanted to talk about Alexia and Todd, because we know that Alexia has talked about on Watch What Happens Live and also on the Real Housewives of Miami, where her and her estranged husband, Todd, they've been navigating what this divorce looks like, like, are we getting a divorce? Are we not? How is this going to play out? And there were a couple of moments of back and forth on social media here recently where people were questioning Todd and his motives. And he said, well, why don't you question her? Like, what is she looking for? Does she need financial gain? What is the situation? I received, and I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, a message, and I showed Jason. I received a DM from Todd, and Todd wanted to kind of clarify a few things to me. And I acknowledged those things. And I just kind of told him, listen, it is the Real Housewives of Miami. So the fans are going to go in favor of who the Housewives are. That's the show. That's the premise of the show. But for Alexia, when you have your son on the show, Frankie, and the whole house is being cleared out and he's watching it, and you're sitting there saying, well, it's love. What do? It's love. It's what am I
how she runs back.
Mija.
She runs back after leaving Frankie in the house while everything was being removed. And he's going through this, like, what the hell is happening? And Frankie, like, legitimately has been through enough. But now that's okay because you still feel like you love him. It does make you think, like, well, what does she need?
Yeah. Well, what does she need? Exactly.
What does she need? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
a man. That's what you need. A real.
I think she needs some green, friends. A man with some green, some cash money.
Yeah. Not rentals. All right, guys. So we're going to move on from this.
Well, what I do have to say, rentals is not a fair way to say you don't have money, because a lot of wealthy people rent and make a lot of money off other rentals.
First of all, I'm not even the
you know
one
what
who
I mean?
made that insult. She made the insult.
Well, then that shows her lack of, knowledge when it comes to money.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I wanted to,
Sorry.
I wanted to pivot from Cuban Barbie to her doppelganger in New Jersey. Real Housewives in New Jersey star Teresa Giudice. She has been under a lot of scrutiny lately, and the reason being she and her husband, Luis Ruelas, have faced a lot when it comes to the taxes. The IRS, they are hitting them with IRS debt after IRS debt, and now we've accumulated over $3 million in debt collectively. So if you guys don't remember, she was very vocal about the fact that they do not have a prenup. They didn't want a prenup. She feels like a prenup is an indication that you are going into a marriage thinking that it's going to end. And some people have that perspective. That's not Jason and I's perspective. However, she decided to go on WGN Chicago. And when she did, she made a point to let her publicist know, to let the anchors know, I am only here to promote my podcast. I'm not here to talk about any financial, questions, taxes, anything like that. And they said, we don't give a shit what you're here for. We're going to get you with the got you moment, the Oprah moment. Here it is.
Happened with the reboot of New Jersey. Are you going to be involved in it at all?
I hope. I'm the OG. Yes. So we'll see what happens. You have to ask Bravo for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to be in Zanies. People are going to ask you all kinds of questions. And how is it that a family doesn't pay their taxes for years?
What family are you talking about?
Your family. Was that what the fraud charges were?
Okay. No, let's just hang up. That's it.
Oh, she didn't like that question.
Yeah. What's going to happen with the reboot of?
Okay. Yeah. So obviously she's not going to like that question. Now, she came back and she said that the host was incredibly disrespectful. And now she has made it a point to let everybody know that she feels as though maybe she implemented the wrong team as far as her accounting department and the people who are handling her finances. I said this yesterday on my video. I said, listen, guys, Jason and I, we went through a couple different CPAs and people who deal with our taxes. And the reason that we did that was because we wanted to find the absolute best group of people, the best company that can handle it. And also not people who are just trying to get you write-offs. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want the fraudulent company, because what happens is if a company is being fraudulent on your behalf to make you happy, to keep you as a client, at the end of the day, when the IRS audits you, guess who's in trouble? It's not the company, it's you. So that's a big deal. She needs to make sure that she has those people in place.
I'm actually really happy she did. You're a little late to the train, girl, but I mean, like that is something that should have happened a long time ago. Also, I think she should fire her publicist. This anchor has a reputation of doing things like this. So, getting that aha moment, that wow,
how did you know that?
Moment. It's all over Reddit. It's all over Reddit, and then they have different videos of him.
How did you know that?
Him interviewing people? Because I thought it was really unprofessional and rude just to go in with that question. But also the publicist needs to know and do your research too. Is this somewhere you need to put her on? Like, I think, is she making an appearance in Chicago with her podcast? I think she is. And that's why she went on there. But do your research. Like, this guy is known for doing this. So I thought it was just not, it wasn't very kosher. And I don't usually stand up for Teresa very much. So I'll just say that. But I am happy that she's getting a different financial person, hopefully that is hired by her and not anybody else who she's with, so that, she can have maybe a different look at her finances and maybe take it from a different perspective instead of relying on, a man to take care of that, because all these men are leading her in really disastrous situations with finances, it seems.
Well, no, I agree. By the way, guys, 200 in the room. Tamra Judge took the same conversation to Two Teas in a Pod, and she brought on Dolores Catania as her guest co-host. And we know that Dolores has been on Two Teas in a Pod numerous times. However, Tamra put her in quite the position, and we are going to play that video for you because
Tamra,
you are messy as hell. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't. I've heard a little bit about it, but I haven't seen it.
This one I hate to even bring up because I know you're friends with her, but we have to get into it, Dolores. We have to. Teresa can be seen getting visibly upset before ending the call while on live air. And
I don't blame her.
I think she could have handled it differently. The anchor, Larry, says, how is it that a family doesn't pay their taxes for years?
Larry, I think that she was so taken back.
What was her purpose of going on there?
I don't know.
Well, there's rumors out there that she's fired everybody in her camp.
I don't know about fired. Teresa does not like somebody to try to make a fool out of her. And
because she could do it all by herself.
Tamra.
Sorry. Are you going to log off this Zoom right now? Are you going to slam your computer shut? Now this one.
Oh, Tamra.
You know that Dolores is going to hear about that, by the way.
Oh, 100%. But you know what? That's the thing about Teresa. Like, if you said something like nasty, or not even nasty, just said anything about Teresa, you'll hear it from Teresa. Like it's same with Dolores. Didn't even bring anything up. She was actually agreeing with her. I would have done the same thing. Fuck you, Larry. You're an asshole. You are. It's
fuck you, Larry.
I totally get it. But Tamra, this is why Two Teas in a Pod is like up there in the charts all the time. She's a mess. She's a mess.
Jason's not wrong. But since we're talking about Teresa Giudice, by the way, again, she is saying that when it comes to the tax issues, things take time, and she's going to be navigating those things, and she hopefully will be bringing her family out of debt. I actually thought it was funny because the woman that I wanted to introduce Jason to today, Devin, she made a good point. If you guys watched NextGen NYC, you would see where Gia said, you want to know what the thing that I love about Jersey is that we don't have taxes. And then editors were like, no, it's like the second highest taxed city in the United States of America, or like the third or something like that. And
yeah, Jersey's not cheap. There are different places to have businesses and different places, and you can do that. You know what I mean? Like, you can umbrella yourself with the taxes.
What she said,
knowledge is power with finances, guys.
She was so funny because she was like, maybe that's why, maybe Gia doesn't think that they have taxes because her mom doesn't pay taxes. And I was like, oh, girl. No. But no. Speaking of which, we're going to go over to Gia Giudice because Gia's obviously on NextGen NYC, and a lot of rumors have been circulating over her and Riley Burris because from what we're hearing, they're not necessarily getting along. And I don't actually think, based off of what the conversation is, this is Gia's fault. Gia went up to Riley Burris and she said, hey, we're very similar in the sense that both of our moms are housewives and we grew up the same way. Riley said to Gia, she's like, my mom is nothing like your mom. Pretty much like my mom did not go to prison. My mom's a Grammy award-winning star. And
she's also a Tony award-winning producer on Broadway. She's also written some of the biggest hits.
But let me just say, I don't think
talent is different.
I don't think that's what Gia was saying. I really don't. I think that she was saying that we grew up similar because we grew up with the cameras in our house.
Absolutely. In the
limelight.
You know what I mean?
So people are now speculating that Gia might actually be getting fired from the Real Housewives or from NextGen NYC. She'll be on the Real Housewives if her mom is. But Now Andy Cohen.
Well, I mean,
has
it works
gotten-
both ways. You see Teresa every episode of NextGen NYC.
No,
just like
you
we
see Meredith and Seth every episode,
which was really cute at the beginning. But I'm ready for them to let the flock fly. Let them do their own thing. By the way,
flock fly. Yes.
The show, you were right. You called it. You said it was going to be good. I didn't believe you. I couldn't get into the first episode, and then I'm watching the second episode. And now I'm glued, but I just feel weird because I'm I don't want to watch these Nepo 20-something-year-olds. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think having the formula, is having Seth and Meredith and Teresa and Candy make appearances because that keeps it it keeps the identity of Bravo and the people that you've watched before. You know what I mean? It just keeps it
Well, Andy ended up chiming into the conversation. So here you guys go. Thank you to Radio Andy and stuff.
I'm not an executive producer of NextGen NYC. This is the first I am hearing of any discord surrounding Gia. And I certainly only have positive feelings for Gia and her mom, Teresa, the OG of NJ.
So there has not been any, quote, inappropriate behavior with co-stars.
No, I nothing that I've ever heard of. No. This
just that one girl who doesn't wash her hands.
All news to me. Wait, I love NextGen NYC. Do not sleep on the show. You do? I'm really into it.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, there you have it.
He loves NextGen NYC because what is the show I always bring up? Why am I forgetting it?
No, it's not the Gossip Girl one. It's the public or the private school one.
Yes. Why am I'm blanking. I brought it up 5 times on the show. I used to watch it too, and he loved that show. And I think it is fun to watch. It's like watching Vanderpump Rules. You're watching these young people trying to go pursue their dreams, but they have to have a job. These kids, don't really, or they have other jobs and OnlyFans and stuff like that. But it's you watch them work and try to pursue their dreams. And this is kind of the same thing. It's the same, thing, but it is a good backdrop. And guys, if anyone in the live chat, what is that show called?
Do you know
the show following the kids, the kids, the Gossip Girl kids, basically.
Can I say really quick too, going into next week's episode where Riley is telling her mom, she's like, yeah, we went out the other night and we racked up a $14,000 tab. I'm like, do you know what kind of privilege that is? Do you know that I've never even racked up $1,000 tab ever in my life? I've never racked up $1,000 tab, let alone
not so low.
14,000. Oh my God.
That's insane.
It's
insane. Yeah.
But
NYC Prep.
NYC
by the way,
Prep,
that's what the show is called. I do have to say that watching the show, Gia is the least one I'm interested in. She's definitely there because of her name and her mom, I think, because the rest of the group has this kind of flow going. And I don't know what it is with Gia. I don't find her interesting on the show. What I really want to see next week is how Ariana and Ava kind of deal with that whole fashion line situation for sure. I'm liking the show. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we're going to move on to the next topic. I kind of love, I feel like I'm speed dating topics right now.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So next topic right here. Here we go. Stassi Schroeder ended up going on for her 40th birthday. Now,
well, this wasn't on the fucking list. Okay.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Stassi Schroeder ended up going on Katie Maloney and Dana Cathan's Disrespectfully podcast that's on the Vile Files roster. And when she did, she was celebrating not only her 40th birthday, but the topic of the Valley came up. Now, one thing about Stassi Schroeder is she's going to always be unapologetically herself. And if she has an opinion, girl is going to share her opinion, which we love. We love an opinion. Now, for Stassi, she ended up admitting that at the very beginning of the Valley, when it came out, she was invested. She thought it was great, but something changed. Here we go. Listen.
Even being on reality, it's hard to watch it through the same lens that other people watch it, I think. But I think people who are seasoned watchers are smart, and they have an idea of how things work. But like I said, even watching the show like The Valley, I'm just like, it's so.
Should we talk about The Valley?
It's so intense that like I just am like, like everyone just is like out for blood. I feel like on that show, it's fucking nuts.
So I had to stop watching it.
Same.
I watched only the first two. I can't. Yeah, like the last season, I was like, this is great fucking television. Like this is great television. Then I started like I think I saw like the first 2 or 3 episodes this season, and I'm like, this is so fucking dark.
It's so dark, really dark,
and it's not even like interesting enough to like balance the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? That I'm just like, this is making me feel uncomfortable. It's making me feel icky. Like I need to tap out. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to talk to my therapist about what it all means.
I mean, it's like, because obviously divorce and things like that are real life things, and they're intense and at times chaotic and toxic. But it was like on another level with some of these people that I was just like, I can't.
Well, to have beef and hard things happening, I feel like there needs to be a balance of like real love and connectivity, and it feels like
which
I thought was there for them.
Yeah,
the first season, but I guess like now watching, I'm like, oh, you guys don't give a fuck about each other.
No, I feel like there's a lot of them don't have the same history, so the stakes aren't really there to mend things or try to like navigate certain situations or conversations with heart, or like giving a fuck. It just seems that like everyone's just willing to throw each other under the bus and say horrific things, and everyone wants to be the morally superior one.
I know. Don't we all? You know, like everyone who goes on a reality show wants to be the morally superior one. We don't all get to be it, okay?
No.
Sometimes you just need to fall into your own fucking lane.
Okay. Go ahead.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I don't think they're necessarily bashing the Valley. I just think everyone is feeling the same way as they are. It just is a little dark. It's a little weird. And Katie's right. I don't think they have the history to make the stakes very high to have this kind of conflicts resolution kind of thing. You know, the people have been around for a while. Like Janet, Zach, Jasmine, Sheena, like they've all been like together. You know what I mean? But it just feels a little weird. You know, every time I'm watching, we're seeing people just get obliterated drunk, right? And then meet with this random fucking alpha guy, whatever, life coach who's making them touch their hearts and give. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? It's weird, right? It's like, go to a therapist.
I also think that even if you take the fact that yes, you have Zach Wickham, Janet Caperna, Stassi.
Zach
Brittany,
won me over, by
Zach,
the way. He's the best. He is a confessional queen. Really, he's won me over
No,
because he's actually carrying some stuff. I know we disagree on that, but actually, I'm like, wow, okay, you're actually driving the show a little bit with your drama and chaos, not necessarily your relationship. I don't think anyone cares, but you know what I mean?
If I were him,
think
honestly,
so?
I would be a little afraid that I'm gonna get punched in the face. I'd be like, you're sitting here like taunting somebody who's like talking about being bipolar and having substance abuse issues. But to go back and piggyback off of what you're saying and what they're saying is the timeline of the friendships, meaning that there's not as high of stakes, which I don't necessarily agree with, because I think that Sheena, Jax, Brittany, Kristen, Zach, Janet Caperna, they've been around each other for a long time. However, I think what the difference is when they came into the situation, they were already becoming friends with people who were on national television.
On the show.
And
now
they were on the
everyone's
show.
trying to find their light. Everyone's trying to find their light. Janet's trying to find her light. Sheena can't even find the camera in this show. You know, so it's like everyone's trying to find something and be seen. You know, no one more than Sheena is trying to be seen at this point, but the camera's just not. It just keeps veering away.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Don't be an asshole. Guys, 300 in the room. Don't be nasty. Sheena is about to embark on her book tour. How do you feel like that's going to go?
I mean, if she doesn't invite Lisa Vanderpump, you know, along for some press, I don't know how that's going to go.
Why did I ask him this shit?
Well, I mean, I don't know, you know. I think, you know, Sheena's history is very interesting. Like we've talked about before, she is the reason for Vanderpump Rules, right? She's the reason. She's not the reason it continued. She's not the reason.
She is the reason.
Whatever,
no,
but she is the reason it became a thing. And
she
it
is
started.
the reason for the segue.
The segue. Yes, she is. I gotta give it that. But you know, why her book tour? I don't know. books, you got to really have an interesting life. I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of biographies for people who have done just crazy, amazing things. So I don't know if she doubles it. I guess she's going to double as a podcast tour. That would make sense. That would be good.
You know what she's kind of doing is she's tapping into her best Kristen Cavallari side. And she's talking about how she had a slumber
and
party.
Kristen Cavallari is trying to tap in to call her daddy side. So yeah, everyone's copying someone.
But Sheena in the book talks about staying the night at Ryan Philippe's house, who was married and has children. Felipe who was married and has children with Reese Witherspoon. And then also, of course, she goes into John Mayer and she goes into like some other celebrity people that she has been involved with. And I'm like, why are you doing this?
Why are you doing this now? Timing is everything. And we'll get to the whole, Craig and Ring thing in a second with timing. But timing is everything. Why drop this book now and go on about all the people you slept with? That is like the thing everyone is doing now. Kristen Cavallari is doing it on her tour. Now Sheena's dropping this in books. Even Sheena was saying, well, Bad Bunny looked at me up and down. Like, what are we doing? You're married. Yeah. You have a kid. You're not on Vanderpump Rules anymore. You're making, extra appearances on The Valley. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, guys. So we're going to move on from The Valley and we're going to go over to our actual, like, if you guys have never been to BravoCon, they always do a, what is it called? The panel where they do squash that beef.
Squash that beef.
Literally, we need a Summer House panel versus a Southern Charm panel because this shit is going to be on fire. Now, what we heard after the breakup was Craig Conover going on and letting us know that during the reunion, he was like, I got the ring. I had the ring. I ended up returning the ring. Okay. So what proof do you have of the ring? Well, I don't really feel like I need to do that. I'm not trying to do that to her. Okay, fine. Watch what happens live. So where's the ring? I returned it today. I'm here with my potential girlfriend, Natalie Buffett, but we're not boyfriend, girlfriend. Maybe we are, maybe we're not, but we're not. Confusing. I returned the ring today. Okay. So then he ends up 8 months later, you guys, going on The Toast and sharing that he has a photo of the ring. Now, originally I saw this and I was like, where's the geotag? So then I saw the full clip where the host is saying, oh, well, the geotag does say Charleston. I'm going to tell you exactly what my discrepancy is with this video because Jason told me on the way back from the gym this morning, he's like, people are on your ass right now about anything that has to do with Craig Conover because they feel like you have some sort of like ill will or like hard on being like, what is wrong with Craig Conover? No, that's not the case, you guys. But I feel like I can call a spade and I want to be able to voice my opinion. That's the whole point of having a platform. So here we go. Here's the clip.
It was a bummer because it was such a fun memory. Like it was such a good experience.
Shopping for it.
Yeah. She had told me she was like, it's time, and I was, happy and we were having like a great couple months and well, really the whole relationship was great until it wasn't. And, but we went to that like GIA building or GAI building. There's like in the Diamond District in New York. And my brother and sister-in-law came up because that's where he got her ring, but they weren't married yet. And so we like got to go to the Diamond building and it's unmarked, and you have to like show your ID and then go up to like an imaginary floor. And it was cool. Like the guy was so nice and he had investment diamonds in there. So he like shows you everything.
And she was with you?
My sister. No. Okay, this was all a surprise. Okay. It felt so weird because I'd be like, so our production company's called Haymaker and they're in the city. And I was like, I'm going to go down to Haymaker for like a meeting.
Got it. When were you looking and when did you buy it?
Bought it at the end of March, but it took like 7 weeks to get delivered. So by the end of that 7 weeks is when she was like, actually hold off until Southern Charm's done filming. And then it was hold off till Summer House is done filming.
Okay, because then I was gonna say like if you got it in March, like why didn't you propose?
Because she had asked, I was just on her account. Okay. I wasn't in a rush, but she didn't know. I wanted it to stay a surprise.
Got it.
Like I dreamt about proposing I just think it's such a special moment. And so we got to see like there was I think he was Jewish, the guy that was like cutting the stones, and like he told like the guy I was buying it from told my sister-in-law like don't look him in the eye or like don't touch him. Like it's I don't know.
There's
it was
like superstitions around it.
Yeah. And so it was a cool experience. And then whatever happened. But I had it in my room since April or May and like would look at it.
Do you have a picture of it?
Yeah.
Can I see?
Oh, that was the weird thing when I heard this rumor that like it wasn't a ring. I was like, why didn't anyone just ask me to see the ring?
Like the picture, and that it's like not in the store.
No, it's in my room. And it's like timestamped because my assistant was like, just so you know, my assistant was like, just so you know, people are saying you didn't have a ring. And I was like, why would anyone say that? That's so mean.
That is, like nothing's sadder than being ready to propose and like,
I was
and
like,
having that not happen.
So he ends up showing a photo of the ring. And when he showed the photo of the ring, the photo literally was of a ring zoomed in. And what I was trying to say when I was covering this whole video yesterday, I was like, I don't agree with this because I feel like anyone could take a photo. Like you can go to Charleston, go to a jewelry shop, take a photo of a ring for inspo, and it will have the geotag saying Charleston on that date, you know? So if I went and I was like, I'm going to buy Jason a diamond eternity band, and Jason in 8 months divorces me, but I went to the mall here in Hilton Head and I took a photo of this eternity band and said that, I know we don't have a mall, but I took a photo of the eternity band and I ended up saying that I bought it. And then I show you the geotags showing that, well, this is in Hilton Head. Show us the receipt. Like nobody buys that. And if you did actually buy the ring, why is it taking you 8 months to produce a photo when Andy Cohen put you on the spot, not once, but twice on Watch What Happens Live and the Summer House or Southern Charm reunion? That doesn't make sense to me.
It's weird. You know, it's just the timing. We talked about this. It's the timing. Like, can we all just shut up about Paige and Craig? There are two people who I think this whole breakup became like a mini baby tiny version of Scandival almost. Yep. You know, it was kind of like weird, right? But I couldn't think of two more boring people to talk about for like that long.
Paige is actually not boring.
I actually enjoy Paige. I don't enjoy that whole pajama thing that she's going through, but
Daphne.
You know, if Craig was such a great guy, Naomi would still be around. Let's be honest. So I'm so tired of hearing about their relationship, and then they keep bringing it up. That's the thing. Everyone talks about the bloggers and the YouTubers and the podcasters who are talking about Craig and Paige. Then they need to keep their mouths shut too. You know, like just be quiet. Let's stop talking about it. You didn't buy a ring. That's a photo, you know, but the thing is when their scandal or their thing starts to quiet down, so does their money, right? So they want to stay relevant with their analytics for like all of their, you know, their product partnerships and stuff like that. So I mean, that's why I think they keep bringing it up, to be honest with you. It's like, talk about me because my show's not on and I need attention.
I'm going to say this real quick. I feel like, and I know what his response would be, but I also know that Craig Conover sees what we post. But like, if in fact that you did buy that ring, I will shut up about it. Post the receipt.
I mean, listen, we should all shut up about it.
Yeah. He's a great liar.
God.
No, Izzy B, I agree. But now moving on, talking about con artists and great liars. Oh, well, this just keeps going. So I have another clip to play for you guys. Yeah, no, I know.
What is the casting department in Bravo, NBC / Peacock Bravo reality? Where do they find everyone? You know, like, please bring your rap sheet. We need to know. Like, what kind of rap sheet you have.
I've said this in the past that I think that Bravo casting, I kind of honestly find it to be like a complete joke, because it's like when my mom goes on dates, you guys, she lives right here in Hilton Head next to Jason and I, both of our moms do. And when she meets a man and she's like, well, I'm going to go on a date, whatever. I know where he lives. I know his background. I know how many kids he has. I know how tall he is. I know where he works. I know when he works. I know everything. But it's like, how do I have that information in literally like maybe an hour of finding out who she's going on a date with? And then you're casting people, giving them a 6-figure contract, and you don't know shit? Like, that does not make sense. You guys have a team under a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, and you guys can't find a way to figure out what people are doing right and wrong. You don't know when somebody's committing fraud or when somebody is a racist. You don't know when somebody's homophobic, and you don't know when somebody is being arrested for something. That doesn't even make sense. Instead, I actually don't buy any of that. What I truly think is going on is that this is a clever ploy, because at the end of the day, what you do is you implement them onto these shows. And when you put them on the show, you get the fans invested in them, you get them interested. And once the fans are interested, then boom, you drop the scandal. When you drop the scandal, it's like, oh my God, we love this person. How could this happen? It happened under our very own eyes.
Hate that person. They love to hate that person. That's where ratings come from, which is a horrible thing. That's very American. But yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But speaking of which, we're going to go on to the next one, Porsha versus Simon, because Simon recently, not only did he ask for a presidential pardon after being deported for the third time, he has been accused.
Get in line with Joe. Get in line.
Get in line with Joe, guys. He's been accused of running scams for his businesses. He has actually.
Hold up. Let me rewind. He's asking a presidential pardon from President Trump, who is literally deporting people, and you've been deported 5 times. Like, how is this going? Three. Sorry. I lost count after 2, because that happens every day.
I mean, I'm kind of wondering, if you got deported 2 other times, how did you
get back in? Like, maybe you need to sell like a how-to book.
I mean, honestly, here we go.
Regret marrying her?
Absolutely. I said to her in one of my text messages to her, because she didn't respond, because I kept asking, why did you file for divorce? And she wouldn't say anything. I tried to reach her mom. Her mom would not respond either. I later figured out this felt like a coup. When I don't know if you're familiar with. I'm familiar. I say it because I'm from Nigeria, and we were ruled at one point by the military, and so every so often when you want to change leadership, the president, you stage a coup.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I was totally blindsided. I was no member of her family, whether on the mother's side or the father's side, reached out to me. And the only person I actually reached out to was her mom, and she didn't respond. And so I essentially sent her a text message. I said this was a $5 million rehab project that I took on. She never shared her concerns or issues with me before filing for divorce. If you're married, I've been married quite a bit. I think I understand a little bit about the dynamics of I should understand a little bit about the dynamics of a relationship. You discuss issues and say, hey, if this does not change or something does not happen, this is what might come of it.
Mm-hmm.
We never had those discussions, and I'm happy to share with you text messages where I was essentially blindsided by the divorce fight.
I was actually going to ask you if this was something that you saw coming, if conversations had been had prior. What do you think Porsha's reason was to file for divorce?
I think I was targeted.
In what way?
I was targeted from day one for financial reasons. When I filed for divorce from my previous, ex-wife, she was in my DM praying for me. And I think I was in a vulnerable position at that time, and I entertained it. And so it just kind of snowballed from there. Getting engaged in 30 days, who does that? I was out of my goddamn mind to have done that. And of course, I'm paying dearly for it.
Wow. Do you regret marrying her?
Let me say one thing. Can I?
Please. I think they used each other. Go ahead, please.
Guys, you know that I was the one who literally flew to Atlanta. I was coming back from Fort Lauderdale. Jason and I, we were with our friend Melissa. We were doing a Sunday brunch, and I got a call from Fallon Gabadia. And she asked me if I would fly to Atlanta and do an interview with her, which I did, right? 500,000 views, I think, in like the first 48 hours. It was crazy. It was on the Today Show, Good Morning America, Wendy Williams. It was everywhere. And when I listened to Fallon's side of the story, Fallon felt like she was blindsided. Now, Fallon was also talking to Jalen, who she ended up having a baby with, or multiple babies at this point. So now I'm like, girl, you weren't blindsided. You were also doing your thing. But then for Simon Gobadia, you thought you were going to put this girl out here on the street. And then you have this woman over here that you felt like was going to propel you into some sort of, I don't know if it was stardom or celebrity status, whatever it was, but it was like the trophy, the prize. That is Porsha Williams. This is the
They were
ultimate
looking for a
trophy
come
wife.
up. They were both using each other for some kind of come up. Porsha,
I
some
mean,
stability.
but I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Let me say why.
Okay, why?
Porsha Williams.
You don't think Porsha was looking for some money?
No, Porsha Williams brings in about $4 million a year. So I think that for Porsha, like I did my research and I'm looking at it. And when she got with Simon, Simon was not wanting her to be back on the Real Housewives of Atlanta because he felt like Kenya and all of the other women were going to question their unity, wondering, well, why would you steal this woman's man? You know? So then Porsha foregoed the $2 million paycheck and she was like, no, I'm good. I'm not going to do it. And she ended up taking a step back from multiple projects, multiple appearances, because he was saying, I want us to be a family and I can provide so you don't have to do all of that
Okay,
work.
I understand that, but yeah.
At the end of the day, listen, at the end of the day, Porsha on paperwork, like for the courts, Porsha for the next 14 to 15 months, she gets court ordered if he pays it, by the way.
If he pays it, what court ordered him to pay it?
Right. Especially
so if he's not allowed in the country, why the hell would he pay it? If he's not going to come back, well, why would he pay it?
He wouldn't. But if he was in the country, it's $40,000 a month for the next 14 to 15 months. They gave her the Rolls Royce, and they also told her the $7 million mansion that him and her, that they both lived in, they both put 50% down as far as like the deposit. And if she wants to maintain that mansion, then she needs to buy him out of his 50%. So she has that option at the end of the 14 to 15 months. Do I think that he's going to come back? No. Do I think he feels used? Yeah. Do I think that she is going to go down in any way for this and people are going to look at her differently? No. And
no, but I mean, you see right through it. Come on. Like, yes, she brings in money, but she can always get more money. You know what I mean? Coins Maloins.
Not coins Maloins. Okay. All right.
Coins Maloins, honey. Let's go. Get some coins. Sorry, I stole from Brian in the live chat.
Who?
Brian in the live chat. I don't know. It's a history of this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, guys. Like Friday, so happy Friday to everyone. Jason and I feel like we covered a lot of great topics. I have a lot more videos that are coming out today. Of course, TikToks. If you guys like the mainstream celebrity entertainment news, like, I don't know, Kim Kardashian, Orlando Bloom, or even Anna Wintour exiting Vogue, you guys can go over to TikTok because I am covering all of that. But in the meantime, we also have an incredible team of writers who are on upandadamlive.com.
Oh my God.
They are posting
So good.
every single day. You guys can see that we have our YouTube videos that are current. As you scroll down, our podcast, you can see our incredible team. And then if you guys want to join us on the weekdays, you can see that we have live watch parties. Like the next one is going to be on Monday, July 30th from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it shows you right here. The live chat will automatically appear here at 8 p.m. and close at 9 p.m. You guys don't have to make a profile. It's nothing like that. You just get to come, have fun, and enjoy. And as far as below deck,
it's actually really fun. It's really fun to chat during the show, but then sometimes you're like, wait, did I just miss something on the show? Because you're like chatting at the same time. It's
I know
fun,
I'm finding myself having to double watch, but I was going to say on top of that, by the way, you guys can call me Gelsey because I'm the new co-host for the next 2 weeks.
Well, you're a co-host times another person, but yes. Well, we'll see Gelsey next Wednesday.
What does that mean?
That means you're not the only co-host, Adam.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know, you're not coming to save Anchor Watch.
Okay. Well, I didn't say, what are you, insecure? I didn't say that. I'm coming to add to Anchor Watch?
Let's flip and hope so. Let's
Okay. No, guys, I'm enjoying every single week of Below Deck, but we love you guys. We appreciate you. Happy Friday. Don't forget to smash that like button, show some love. We have more videos coming on Up and Adam channel 1 and 2. We have polls that are going up for you. You guys can also check out our broadcast channel on Instagram. You can check out the TikToks, and you can check out upandadamlive.com every single day for more stories. So unless Jason has something to say, do you?
Yes, I do. Have a great weekend, guys.
Yes. Have a great weekend.
Super
and
excited.
We'll see you later. Love you guys.